The question was whether or not you believe AI is a bubble, which I think is the place we would probably start this conversation anyway, given that I know that's top of mind for everybody. But maybe, Bill, if you want to kick it off.
Sure. Oh, thanks for having me again, Leslie. It's great to be here with my friend Philippe. I'm going to say, to be a little bit maybe controversial, not a bubble. And I say not a bubble because I think this is a very real tech cycle. I think back to the PC cycle, the 80s, the internet cycle, the 90s, the mobile cycle of the 2000s, cloud 2010s, and now AI. And this will be a very, very real market, will create a lot of value. I think there will be a productivity payback long term. So I don't think a bubble, but I do think moments of overvaluation, moments of misallocation of capital, sure.
And Philippe?
I'm always concerned about something. There's always something that can go wrong in life. I would say when you look sometimes at previous bubbles, it's not obvious necessarily who wins. So could we be making the mistake of thinking that someone who appears to win ends up not winning? That's one type of mistake. And the second one is that if AI becomes so successful, you could imagine the economy growing very fast, but a lot of job destruction along the way. And it's sort of odd to be in saying, listen, we love AI, we love everything it can do, but also does it lead to a lot of unemployment?
Yeah.
And so that's maybe more of a 10 or 15-year concern, but I sort of think about it already now a little bit.
So maybe bubble isn't the right prism to be looking at the broader concern as it pertains to AI, whether it's a bubble or not, but what it ultimately does down the road to
it
society.
Does feel, and Bill interject too, but this wave feels like the changes are going to be dramatic in the future. Mm-hmm. Like in 5 and 10 and 15 years, the world is going to look potentially very different than today. Maybe people said the same thing with computers or with the mobile internet. The changes were maybe a little bit more incremental. This goes at the heart of replacing humans in both white collar and blue collar, and drivers and cars and humanoids. There are going to be a lot of changes.
I agree completely with Philippe. This is almost a super cycle, and I think it's so fundamental. And one way I've started to think about it is that it's intelligence on demand. And you can imagine, like railroads, like electricity, like the internet. It's a fundamental new technology, and it will create huge markets. I think Philippe is right. It's very hard to tell all the winners and losers right now. We're too early to do it. But one thing I just want to say about it that's different than the internet cycle is that in this cycle, the incumbents have an edge right now. The big tech giants have an edge because it's capital intensive, it's engineering intensive, and it's data intensive. And they bring those assets to the table. Where the new entrants, well, there'll be some winners for sure, OpenAI, Anthropic, others. But going into it and building these LLMs, building this intelligence on demand, it's the big guys who really have an edge early on.
Do you think, Philippe, that gives them immortality? The Mag 7 or the hyperscalers, that they will be in that 5-year future that you see, they will still retain that dominance? Or do you think there will be that all of this spending essentially will kind of get them to a place where they're ultimately replaced by the next Mag 7?
That's a good question, and I know that a lot of tech guys think they're immortal, or they're spending money to become immortal. Me, I'm a European, I like a good glass of wine every now and then. I realize I'm not going to be, immortal. I remember when the Mag 7 used to be called FANG, and FANG++, and there's always these acronyms, and usually by the time someone knows an acronym by heart, like the Mag 7, by the way, it's not really the Mag 7, it's the Mag 10, because there's 10 companies, I think, that are worth over $1 trillion market cap. There will be another index, and maybe OpenAI or Anthropic or some of your companies, Bill, will also make it to that index someday. So I think the index will change, and then not just in the US, but you were talking to me early on, there might also be a Mag 7 in other areas.
Because it's your jobs to pick who those winners will be, and given just all the uncertainties about how it does reshape our lives, how it does reshape the economy, how do you diligence something like that? How do you decide what to invest in, how much to invest in them, as you seek, obviously, that next big win?
Well, I mean, for us, it's about following the entrepreneurs. And I think we're going to see a whole nother generation of, I think, great entrepreneurs. They're already at work building companies. And the thing that I'm most excited about right now is this new set of application companies who are going to basically harness the intelligence on demand and compute that's available to build new solutions, new applications that we can't even imagine. And I go back to my railroad analogy where I think that we couldn't have imagined a lot of the applications around what was possible when you had transportation on demand that way. So I think it's going to be it'll be an exciting time for us with some of the new companies that are going to come along.